CARICOM is making strides to slow the flow of arms to territories and to identify perpetrators and facilitators with help from the United States. That's according to Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, who addressed the audience at the opening ceremony for the second Regional Symposium on Crime and Violence in Georgetown, Guyana on Friday. A recent U.S. Government Accountability Office (GAO) report revealed that several Caribbean nations, including St. Lucia, are affected by an influx of illegal firearms originating from the United States.
The firearms tracing capability of the region has been considerably enhanced through the expansion of the Regional Integration Ballistic Information Network, RIBIN. These broadening of the scope of RIBIN is enabling more CARICOM member states to access firearms tracking equipment and technologies. And this might be a good point for me to mention that in collaboration and in response to our appeal and I dare say demand to the United States to get involved in these actions, that there have been a number of US generated initiatives, not the least of which the crime gun development approach with United States authorities and the establishment of the illicit trafficking crime czar up north and the making of new legislation to allow federal agencies to treat with trans-state cross-border trafficking. These developments are helping us to slow the flow of arms to our territories and to identify the perpetrators and facilitators.
Guyana President Dr. Ifan Ali stated that studies show that 85% of violent crimes are committed by men, which has deeper effects on the economy.
In Guyana, I'll give you one example. 66% of students at the University of Guyana are now women. 66% of the total intake at the University of Guyana are women. And when you look at the scholarship program, more than 70% of the total scholarships available, which is in the last 4 years is more than 30,000, are taken up by women. The consequential effect is that 85% of the violent crime are committed by our male. So where is their attention being directed to? Definitely not education here, because the stats is not demonstrating that. So that is the depth of the problem.
CARICOM heads, experts, and regional stakeholders also interrogated the policy prescriptions for addressing the vulnerabilities within specific groups, including women, youth, and communities.
We will strategize on strengthening the resilience created by positive family, educational, and community involvement, and explore approaches to keeping our cultural expressions as a tool for positive development, while mitigating the opportunistic negative infringements to make this legacy one that is mired in deceit and violence. The CARICOM Social Development and Crime Prevention Action Plan indicates that in the Caribbean context, there is an enormous potential for the cultural industries to play an important role as sources for jobs, self-employment, to build confidence, and to break down stereotypes between groups.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who was in attendance for the Crime and Violence Symposium, told reporters at the weekly pre-cabinet media briefing that the root cause of crime was also explored, which included music.
That wasn't meant to be an excuse, it's a fact. The entire region seems to be plagued with that pandemic of violence, particularly gang violence and particularly violence among young men. In fact, there were many discussions as far as this is concerned. One of it was the influence of music. There was a paper on whether music influences the type of music, whether it influences that kind of behavior. This is work in progress. There was also the impact of violence on the health services. And again, something that we suffer from in St. Lucia. The violence, the stabbings and the woundings, how does that impact on the health services? There was an estimate in one country that $22 million has been spent in the health services to deal with violence as it relates to stabbings and wounding. And this is one of the major problems we have here in St. Lucia in our emergency services, the impact on stabbing and stabbing and shooting. So this is not unique. As Adam said, we're not comforting ourselves. But I was very pleased to know that St. Lucia is very much advanced. And I'm not going to compare to other countries, so don't ask me. St. Lucia is very much advanced in what we're doing here as it relates to the abatement of crime and violence.
CARICOM's second regional symposium on crime and violence saw the announcement of a groundbreaking legislative framework, the CARICOM Arrest Warrant Bill. The framework is expected to enhance law enforcement's ability to tackle cross-border crimes. Gino Filippi, HDS News Force.